All right, everyone, this is Terry, and this is another edition of An Orchid a Day. And of course, this is my annual graveyard video, which is more or less a wrap up of the grow season, this being 2020. I'm kind of going through some of the plants that are remaining out here that are casualties, and I'll just sort of go over each one together with you because shortly I will be cleaning this whole area up and all of this will be removed, so that's why I'm doing this now. This, of course, was something I had high hopes for. All season I talked about this, and it just more or less died the more that I talked about it. This is the BLC Chinese Beauty Orchid Queen, which was on my sort of bucket list for Cattleyas. It was in a sheath when I mounted it on here. It started out growing really well, produced new roots, even had a new growth coming. Looked like there were buds starting in the sheath, but then all of a sudden it just stopped and went the other way. And that seems to be the course of almost every one of the plants of these that I've had. I've probably had a handful of them since I've heard of Chinese Beauty Orchid Queen, since I became obsessed with it. I'll post a pic, but I'm done with it, so c'est la vie. This up here is also unfortunate. This is another attempt at a mount, and this is a cool log. This was a fairly big plant, as you can see, but no more. This was a Cattleya Mark Jones crossed with Cattleya Jungle Spots. No more. Down here, this is a chocolate drop Volcano Queen, which is dead, as you can see. This happened while I was gone on vacation, not sure why. Down here I finally lost my BLC urchin. Can't tell you why. It was another something that went downhill when I was gone on vacation. Next to it is it's probably still alive, to be honest. This is a area. I can still see green canes. It hasn't put up a growth. Actually, there's a growth. So I will take this off of here and put, well, if I don't damage it before, but this area, this area, Xanthochelia. Yeah, that is a new growth pushing. So this is a saved. This, you've seen this when I pointed this out when it rotted. This is the BLC Destiny Dixon that was doing really well, then just rotted all of a sudden. Above here, this was something that was dead coming out of the winter. This is my Golden Glory, of course, that perished while I was gone on vacation. It had a new growth coming. It had a new growth over here that died, and then shortly after that, the whole plant died. Not sure why. Right here, this is a failed Equigenera. No, actually, this is a failed rescue. This is a BLC Empress Worsley that had bloomed for me, and last winter it didn't really fare so well. It actually almost died because of my heater dying. But the blooms are so beautiful. I tried to save a piece that was alive and mounted on this piece of cork. But yeah, this was a brand new piece of cork, and I don't even know if the roots ever got onto the mount, but I'm going to save that piece of cork for sure. Up here is another fail that came out of the greenhouse in sad shape. This is my SC Seagulls gumdrop that I got from Peter Lynn, chocolate drop crossed with Cernula. Bad. Not sure what that is. This, of course, I've shown this to you. This is my Stacy Eye. It died while I was gone. Didn't get any moisture. There was no rain during that period. And this here is probably not a tag on it, but this is Enchalgulin. It's a Brassavola hybrid that was mounted on here, and that's not going to be a success. Down here is probably my biggest loss. This is my used to be very big Encyclia plicata. It bloomed beautifully for me last year. Had a very long season of bloom, fragrant blooms. I repotted it, and it just didn't like it, I guess. Back here are some things. This would be Stanhopea varsviciana, which it came out of the greenhouse sort of like that over the winter. I tried to revive it, but it didn't like it. This is, well, that's not what that is. I'm not sure what this is. I think that was a division of a Hercoglossum that I used to have. And this, I'm not quite sure. I think that's like a Persavala something. I'm not sure. No tag on it. This here is well, I had mounted this. This was a seedling. Well, it used to be a seedling that I had this probably 3 years that I grew it in a pot, and then I had remounted it onto this, and it didn't make it in the summer that I had got rot on it because of a lot of the rain. These are my failed attempts to mount a couple of divisions off of my Dendrobium Gerald McGrath, which is beautiful. I had high hopes for these, but they looked very well initially, formed new growths, had roots coming, and then all of a sudden it just stopped producing. This here is it's still alive, but I'm giving up on it. This is my, it's a Dendrobium, and it is sulcatum. I believe that's what that is, because you can see the pseudobulbs are flattened. That's the typical growth. And I've gotten nothing out of this plant except for kikis. And so, that's that. This is probably, I believe this is Kiku. This is the one that I got from Europe, and it still has growths trying. This has really suffered the entire time from scale, and you can kind of see still a little bit of remnants around and about. But I'm just, I've got another Kiku that is healthier, so I'm just kind of done with that. This up here is my Thrissiflorum. Like I said, I told you guys that if it didn't bloom for me, I was done with it. It did try to put up another growth. It did have another new growth that didn't make it. These canes are still nice and green. I guess I could probably give that to a member at my Orchid Society. Back here is another Kiku. It still has this, but it's got some, infestation. It's only got one. I'm just gonna let that stay outside. Here is my Sologeny Rushashinii, which bloomed really nice for me, and then again I repotted it, and it just didn't seem to be getting the moisture that it wanted. The pseudobulbs wrinkled up, and they eventually, it's putting up a little growth there, but I don't see it doing much of anything. This up here is another struggling, this is my Potnara Hoku Gem, that it's still alive, but it's not worth, I'm kind of weeding out struggling plants. So that's a failure for me. I just had mounted that earlier this year. Yeah, it looks like January. This is my failed mounting of another precious thing that I hope to find another one of. And maybe, these pseudobulbs, I might bring this inside because they're not all together. This one is completely mush, as you can see. So I may actually just do this, what I'm doing right now, and try and clean some of that rotted part that's in here away from this, and maybe put a little bit of dragon's blood and see if perhaps I can salvage this. Of course, you remember my roof flea profuse. This is something else that has always had scale on it. No matter how many times I spray it, the scale remains. Never bloomed for me. This was a gift from Aloysius Spencer. So I've been using this as a hanger. Literally, no matter what I do, the scale stays, so I'm done. This is my Cymbidium Alliofolium, which stays out until frost. We'll see what it does. That's not really a dead plant. And this is one that I'm going to give away. This is my Miltonia blentii. It's got a little growth coming up there, but I'm just really making sure that this doesn't this has been battling scale for years, and I'm just going to get it out of my care once I can get rid of it. So that's not a dead plant. This up here, I'm going to give, this is a division. That's a dead division except for that little kiki. I'm not sure. That's not really worth giving to anybody. But that was a lot of guessy. But yeah, folks. Well, there's a couple more over here. I lost a Inobi Purple Splash, and this is another one that you saw me pick out at Hauserman's that it just looks horrible. And it seems like it's rotting from the back, so I'm just going to toss that as well. And this is the last one. This is my Osteolabium Oncidium. It rotted again. Well, I don't want to say again. It rotted in addition, as well as so many others did. And this video was all over the place, I know, but it had to be done, and now I can clean this area and rid all of my plants, or my dead plants. But folks, thanks for watching. Sorry for such a depressing video, but in summary, I would say, despite the number of casualties, and number doesn't really matter to me, I have had more successes than casualties, to be honest. My Brassavolas have been, my collection has been revived. I've got new additions that are doing well. A lot of my Cattleyas, for the most part, my bifoliates, a lot of them that I lose in the fall, I still have them, and they have sheaths on them. So overall, it was a warm, with plenty of rain through the season, which was nice. The temperature stayed not too hot. So overall, it was it was a growth season that was filled with lots of growth. I would say relatively few tragedies overall. And that is my In Orchid a Day video for today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support. Moving on forward, looking forward to the next growth season and the winter when I will be housing and again keeping my greenhouse warm and keeping them, well, the ones that I do fertilize and watered more regularly. Again, enjoy your orchids, folks, and bye.